What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey Pipes. Wednesday, Hump Day, the 22nd of October, 2025. I'm pretty sure that date is right. It is Wednesday. It's Hump Day, and I think it's the 22nd. 6:15 here in the morning in the great communist state of New York. Some say he's a king. I wouldn't mind if he was. But I'll tell you what, he is my president, and he is the president of the United States of America. Becoming, yet again, the best country in the world. God bless our President Donald Trump. The 45th, and again, the 47th. I had an opportunity yesterday. I need to sit down for this one. Oh, yeah. Let me sit down for this one, folks. I had an opportunity yesterday evening, should I say, to have... I think I took over, by the way. Last night, I was about to get into bed, and I see a notification on my phone. And it says, John Phillips Plumbing is now live. And I'm like, let's go check this out. Now, one of the things with the notification bell and I guess how swiftly it gives you notifications that it's supposed to give you. The live stream started 15 minutes before then. And when I joined with the rest of the chat and the rest of the viewers, there was about 50 or so viewers watching this live stream of Mr. John Phillips, Mr. Sunshine, shoving food down his throat. It wasn't a pretty sight, I gotta admit. It was not a pretty sight. But, you know what? It works for him. And it was an experience. So nonetheless, he's reading comments on the live stream, and he's like 10 minutes in the past. Like, this guy, man, he's fucking a million years old, and he's reading comments in the past. And I guess he finally realized something was up when his phone rang, and I gave him a call during his live stream. And the first time, he didn't pick up. I actually got one of those messages like, nee, nee, nee. The party you're trying to calling is unavailable. I'm like, oh, fuck. He's so fucking cheap that he couldn't even pay his cell phone bill. I was like, no wonder why. The guy pays you money to do his plumbing. It's hilarious. It really is. Nonetheless, I call him again, and I get him on the phone, and we had a conversation for roughly 45 minutes, and we talked about a wide range of stuff between politics and plumbing. It was a nice conversation, and we hit, at least what I saw, we went from the 50s to almost a little over 100 people watching. Not too shabby. So, not to pat myself on the back, I guess I helped increase the amount of views that he got on a live stream, even though my name wasn't even the title. He got 613 views on that live stream. And his last live stream before that, 285. Not too shabby. That was also 2 weeks ago. But he had 613 views. That's a good number, by the way. I like that number. The 613 mitzvah. Or, like rules. Commandments. I shouldn't say mitzvah. Yeah, that is mitzvah. Commandments. In less than 8 hours of the video being live. Now, keep in mind, he live streamed something 2 weeks ago and only had 732 views on that. So I am curious to see if I help influence his channel. Because he let a little secret out to the community that yesterday was YouTube payday. And it's usually around the 21st of every month or the 22nd of every month where Google, the parent company, actually it's Alphabet, but Google sends a direct deposit to their creators, the ones that are monetized. So according to AI and according to Social Blade, he earns an estimated monthly earning of around $300. Not too shabby. Let me see how accurate this is. Let me put in my channel. And we're going to see. Okay, let's see.
Hi.
Yeah, it's about right. It's a little low. So maybe he makes $500 a month from YouTube. I'm looking at mine and it says I make between, just keeping it real, right? It says I make between $2,000 and $5,000 of estimated earnings. And that's a little low for this time of year. Around Christmas, fuck. God. Oh, Mr. Google. I love it. Absolutely love it. But it was a good conversation, and I commandeered his live stream, and I'm not guilty about it. I am not guilty about it at all. I'm glad I was able to join in the conversation with him and a little over 100 people watching. It was very nice. But what I don't understand is how people have this just hidden in their DNA, this voyeurism. They like to watch this guy eat. Anyway, there was, I don't even want to bring up politics, but I kind of need to. I actually don't need to, but I kind of want to. And you'll fucking listen or you'll stop watching. I was watching, and I put this on every so often, CNN. It's channel 600 on Fios here in New York. On the TV. On the Google. No, on the TV. You guys who know what I'm talking about on the Google. And they had a few commentators on, and this younger black woman was apparently maybe the anchor of the show. And it was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock last night. And they're talking about how Donald Trump is demanding, according to CNN, $238 billion. Billion? No. $238 million, to refund him or to reimburse him for all the defense of what happened when Biden was president and he was getting arrested and he was being sued by all these district attorneys, whatever. Now, it's interesting because I was watching Fox News yesterday afternoon, and I know it's not the greatest either. There's the extreme left, and there's the extreme right. And the extreme right is actually One American News, but that's not on Fios anymore. But Fox is more right-leaning, a lot more right-leaning. And I happen to watch Fox, but sometimes you got to turn it off because they just keep going on and on and on. I'm like, oh, come on, stop sucking this guy off. Stop. Just keeping it real. Newsmax is good, though, but they're even, I don't know, whatever. But these news outlets, they will present their side of the story in a fashion that is geared for their audience. But don't fabricate and don't make up shit. So I was watching, because yesterday was the Wheelie Day or Diwali Day, or it's Indian. I don't even know what it is. It's a holiday that certain people of a certain faith, which I believe is the Indian background. And it's a holiday. I don't know how long it is. I don't know. But they had a bunch of Indian Americans there, including Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, and a few other people, but there's a lot of people there in the Oval Office behind his desk, and he's doing a news conference or just he was talking like he talks every single day on to the people. Biden will talk like once every 4 years, or once a year at the State of the Union, whatever. And one of the reporters at the end of the lighting of the candle, the ceremony, which is very nice. I don't really know about this stuff, so correct me if I'm wrong. And one of the reporters asked, is like, are you going to request to be reimbursed for your legal defense while you were between terms of presidencies, to defend how, all these people coming after you? And he goes, I may. I don't know. I was like, he's basically saying, like, I can write my own settlement check because it's coming from me because I'm the president of the United States, right? But he goes, listen, I don't even know what the number is, but I'm not going to take the money. Like the 45th term when I was president, I didn't collect the salary, and also now I don't collect the salary. So if I were to get a settlement from the Justice Department, I would probably, he's going to donate it. So that's what he said. I heard him say that, right? So let me see how CNN's going to spin this. And I'm listening to the anchor woman talk. And she looked pretty hot, though. Pretty hot. But she had that wokeness to her, though. It looked like she was just, So she's, and she goes around the table, the panel of other people there, correspondents, So the first guy, mentions that he said he was going to donate. And, you could see her that they're trying to, shut him up. Right? I'm like, well, that's what he said, right? And he's on the defensive, backing Trump, saying, listen, he doesn't collect a salary. He spent, and well, as a tax-paying citizen, I don't want to give him $250 million. What losses did he suffer? This is what she said. What losses did he suffer? You stupid fucking cunt bitch. He was arrested, right, by a woke district attorney in New York, Letitia James, who belongs in the Bronx Zoo because she's a fucking rhinoceros. Seriously, look at her. She looks like a rhinoceros. She looks like the Joker. What's that woman's name? The ex-mayor of Chicago. Holy shit, that's another one. She's fucking they belong in a zoo. And it's what losses did he have? Excuse me, he was arrested. It's yeah, but his arrest and conviction, earned him the presidency. I'm like, they are that fucked up. I'm sorry. If I was politically attacked because my views go against someone else's who has to be in power and I'm not, and it not only cost me my reputation, business-wise, I'm going to get fucking paid when I can make some moves. Fuck yeah. And you know what? You would do the same thing too. Crazy. And one other thing. They were talking about how, the military is rounding up, people living in the United States. I'm going to say this one more time. And I'm probably going to say it again in a later video. If you entered someone's home without their permission, that's burglary. That is a felony. Okay? And you habitated there. Now, there are some states where, adverse possession, I don't care, or squatters, fuck that shit for right now, right? If you break into someone's home, it's a crime. So if you enter into our home illegally, you are a criminal. Point blank. I don't care if you're here for a day or 20 years or anywhere in between. You are still a criminal. In the 4 years that President Biden was in charge, an estimated, and this is just undisputed numbers, an estimated 10 to 15 million people And not just Mexico or the Central Americans, the Latinas, Latinos, no. An estimated 10 to 15 million people entered into the United States and remain here at the time illegally. Now, hear me out for a second. This is undisputable facts, right? That's what it's estimated to be, 10 to 15 million people. Undisputed. Hear me out. America was formed and grew by migration and immigrants. Right? Primarily, vastly primarily, legally. Very good friend of mine. He's probably watching this right now. Very good friend of mine. One of my best friends. He's a best friend. Well, one of them. I have a couple of best friends. He entered the United States with his brother and his mother legally, and many years later became, I think it's a naturalized citizen. He's now a citizen. He has a United States passport. He's a hustler. He's an amazing guy. And he loves Latinas chicas. I think we all do. Big booty Latinas chicas. All right? And I know someone who happens to be close to me who migrated here by means of coyotes. She's a woman, by the way, and they sexually assaulted her on the way into the United States about 20 years ago. Actually, it was a little over 20 years ago. And she has done everything she can to become a U.S. citizen and has never gotten arrested or broken a law or even stole anything from a supermarket. No shoplifting, nothing. And she still is here illegally. I think, and that's a problem. And I believe that there needs to be an immigration reform that if you're here for X amount of time and you are a family, you have employment, now whatever, if that's legal or not, I don't know. There are ways that people can get EIN numbers, social security numbers, whatever. But there needs to be immigration reform in the United States because it's wrong, right? It needs to be made a little more, I guess, transparent, and maybe there it is, right? But if you're here for 20 years and you've exhausted means of trying to become a legal citizen and you are a productive member of society and not draining our resources, there needs to be a mechanism in place to enable that dream to become a reality. You know, because in the early 20th century, Ellis Island was one of the official ports of entry for legal immigration into the United States. And I don't know the exact number, but in the 50 or so years that Ellis Island was open, it processed, you're not going to believe this. You're really not going to believe this. You know what? I have to look it up because I think the number is slightly wrong. Yeah. Between 1892 and 1954, approximately 12 million immigrants passed through Ellis Island in New York Harbor, the most famous entry point for immigrants arriving in the United States during that era. It opened on January 1st, 1892, and at its peak, it averaged around 7,500 people a day arrived, mostly from Eastern Europe, including Italy, Poland, Russia, Greece, and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. It wasn't a country back then. And it closed in 1954. But during the 4 years that Joe Biden was president of the United States, the number of unauthorized illegal immigrants that entered through the border into our country is estimated to be, some go 7.2, and some go as high as 17 million. That's obscene. That's obscene. And you know what? I just read an article yesterday that in New York City, there's 2 more minutes and I'm gonna end it. In New York City, an estimated 1 out of 7 school children are homeless. Let that fucking sink in for a second, folks. 1 out of 7 New York City school children are homeless. Let that sink in. Meanwhile, for the last, besides the last year, well, not the last year, 10 months, for the last 4 years during Joe Biden's presidency, we had the floodgates, the keys to the city were open, and billions upon billions of dollars was spent to house illegal immigrants. I remember the building tent cities all over the fucking place. You have these people coming into the country, they're unvetted. Some, not all, some are just misfits, they're criminals, they're rapists, they're terrorists, they're murderers, they're gangbangers. Meanwhile, 1 in 7, and I'm sure it's not isolated just to New York City. 1 in 7 school children in New York City is homeless. Let that fucking sink in. Catch you in the next one. Be well, God bless, stay safe. And yes, the palm trees are back. We'll see them in the backyard next summer.